Once upon a time, deep beneath the surface of a sparkling ocean, there lived a little fish named Finn. He had shiny scales that reflected the colors of the reef, and eyes as big as the moon. Every night, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the ocean grew still, Finn would swim to the highest coral outcrop and gaze up at the sky. He would watch the glowing moon hanging like a silver lantern above the water. The moon was so beautiful, so bright, and Finn dreamed of touching it. But like many dreams, it seemed impossible, far beyond what a little fish like him could ever achieve. As the ocean waves gently rocked him, Finn's mind would drift far beyond the reef, imagining himself soaring higher and higher, breaking through the surface of the water, and reaching that shining orb. Each night he would whisper to himself, "One day I'll touch the moon." The other fish would laugh when they saw Finn staring up at the sky, and the elder fish would tell him that the moon was meant for creatures of the land, not the sea. But Finn didn't listen. He wasn't ready to give up on his dream. He felt a pull inside him, an irresistible urge to reach for something greater than himself, something beyond the waves. That very night, Finn made a decision. The moon may be far, but nothing would stop him from trying. He began to think of how he could make his dream a reality, even if it seemed impossible. The next morning, while the ocean sparkled in the sunlight, Finn swam quietly to the elder fish, a wise old sea bass named Otto. Finn had always respected Otto, who had seen many moons come and go. He approached the elder fish with a question that had been on his mind for as long as he could remember. "Otto," Finn began, his voice a mixture of hope and uncertainty, "is it possible to touch the moon?" Otto raised his large, wise eyes to meet Finn's. A slow smile spread across his face, and soon, a soft chuckle escaped his gills. "Touch the moon. My dear Finn, the moon is far above us, where the sky meets the land. It's not a place for fish to go." Finn's heart sank, but Otto wasn't done. "But that doesn't mean the moon isn't special. It's a dream for creatures like you to chase. Just don't forget that dreams are best shared, Finn. If you believe in something enough, the journey is just as important as the destination." Finn felt a stirring in his chest, a warmth that filled him with determination. He had always known Otto was wise, but today those words meant something more. "So, you think I could do it?" Finn asked, looking up at the elder fish. Otto's smile softened. "I think you have the spirit of a dreamer. But remember, dreams are sometimes more achievable when you have others to share them with." Finn's eyes sparkled, and with a nod, he swam off, ready to begin his journey. The moon was still far, but now it didn't seem so impossible. Finn was ready to chase his dream, and maybe, just maybe, find a way to share it along the way. That evening, as the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting a golden glow over the ocean, Finn swam to his favorite spot at the coral reef. He looked up at the sky, now darkening into a blanket of stars. The moon was already beginning to rise, a glowing pearl above the horizon. Finn could feel his excitement bubbling up inside him. It was time to begin. He swam in circles, thinking of how he could possibly get closer to the moon. The task seemed daunting. How could a small fish like him ever reach such great heights? But something Otto had said echoed in Finn's mind. Dreams are best shared. That gave him an idea. "I won't do this alone," he whispered to himself. He would need help. He would need to talk to others and perhaps even join forces with them. But who could help a fish chase the moon? He started his plan right then and there. He would swim higher than he ever had before, all the while seeking companions to help him in his mission. As Finn swam through the coral and past the clusters of sea anemones, he began to ask every fish he met if they had ever dreamed of something as impossible as touching the moon. But most of them just smiled and swam away, thinking Finn's dream was a funny, impossible notion. It seemed like the only one who truly understood was Finn himself. But that didn't discourage him. Instead, it made him more determined. He was sure that somewhere out there someone or something could help him. His dream was just beginning, and he wouldn't let the doubt of others cloud his ambition. Finn swam deeper into the clear, cool waters, where the sunlight barely touched. He was beginning to feel the weight of his journey, but he didn't let it slow him down. The ocean was calm tonight, the waves almost motionless, as if the sea itself was holding its breath in anticipation. As he ventured further away from the reef, Finn suddenly noticed a soft, ethereal glow ahead of him. It was as if the stars had come to the water, lighting up the darkness around him. Intrigued, he swam closer, his fins gently gliding through the water. There, in front of him, was a group of jellyfish. Their translucent bodies pulsed with soft, rhythmic light, casting a soothing glow around them. They were the kind of creatures who seemed to belong to a dream, floating through the water like living lanterns. Finn approached them slowly, careful not to disturb the gentle dance of their movements. One of the jellyfish, noticing Finn, floated toward him with a soft, wobbly grace. Its tendrils shimmered like soft strands of moonlight. "Hello, little fish," the jellyfish said, its voice a delicate hum that seemed to vibrate through the water. "What brings you here, under the glow of the moon?" Finn looked up at the jellyfish, feeling the excitement rise in his chest. "I'm chasing the moon," he said, his voice full of determination. "I want to touch it." The jellyfish pulsed in a thoughtful way. "To touch the moon, you must first learn to shine with your own light. We will guide you through the darkness." With that, the jellyfish surrounded Finn, each one glowing brighter and brighter. As they swam together, their soft lights illuminated the waters, and Finn felt a warmth inside him. Maybe this journey wouldn't be as lonely as he thought. The jellyfish guided Finn through the quiet depths of the ocean, their soft glow turning the dark water into a gentle, shimmering pathway. The further they swam, the brighter the jellyfish glowed, as if they were slowly pulling Finn closer to something magical. As they moved through the calm waters, Finn began to feel a sense of peace he had never known. He had been so focused on reaching the moon that he hadn't realized how much the journey itself was teaching him. He was no longer just chasing the moon. He was learning to appreciate the beauty around him, the creatures of the sea, and the calming rhythm of the ocean. After a while, the group of jellyfish paused, and Finn noticed a shadow in the distance. Slowly, the shadow grew larger, and Finn's heart skipped a beat. A giant whale, far larger than any fish he had ever seen, emerged from the dark waters. It was as if the whale had materialized from the very depths of the ocean itself. The whale's great eyes, like two giant, tranquil pools, looked down at Finn. "Ah, little one," the whale's deep, slow voice rumbled. "I have heard of your quest." Finn's eyes widened in awe. "You know about my dream?" he asked. The whale nodded. "I have seen many creatures come and go, all with dreams of their own. But the moon is not so easily touched. It is a place for those who dare to dream, but even those with the strongest of wills must remember. Sometimes, a dream is not just about reaching the goal, but about understanding what the journey teaches us along the way." Finn listened closely, absorbing the whale's words. The wisdom in its voice was unlike anything he had heard before. "What should I do?" Finn asked, unsure of how to continue. The whale's deep eyes softened. "You must believe in your dream, but never forget to listen to the world around you. Let your heart be your guide, not just your fins." With that, the whale gave Finn a soft, encouraging nod before swimming away into the darkness. Finn, filled with a new sense of purpose, felt the moonlight ahead shine just a little brighter. With the whale's wisdom echoing in his mind, Finn continued on his journey. His heart now carrying more than just the desire to touch the moon. It carried the understanding that dreams weren't only about the destination, but the lessons learned along the way. As Finn swam through the open water, he came across a school of anchovies. their silvery bodies flashing like tiny stars. The little fish in the school moved in perfect synchrony, creating a shimmering cloud that seemed to pulse with life. Finn, curious about how they moved so effortlessly together, swam closer. "Hello," Finn called out to the anchovies. "How do you all swim so perfectly in sync?" The anchovies slowed down, parting to reveal a small fish in the center, a particularly sleek anchovy with bright eyes and a glint of mischief. "We swim as one," the anchovy replied with a grin. "It's all about trusting each other and moving together. When we swim in harmony, we're faster and safer from predators." Finn thought for a moment, his mind buzzing with the thought of harmony. "Can I join you?" he asked, eager to see if swimming with others would help him reach his goal faster. The anchovy smiled. "Of course, little fish. The more the merrier. Just follow the current and trust the flow." Finn joined the school of anchovies, finding it surprisingly easy to keep up as he swam in time with their movements. The ocean felt different now. Less lonely, more connected. The school of anchovies carried Finn through the water, guiding him past darkened waters and into a more open part of the sea, where the moonlight danced on the surface. As Finn swam alongside them, he realized that maybe his dream wasn't just about reaching the moon by himself. Maybe, just maybe, sharing it with others was the key to getting closer. The anchovies had shown him something important. Dreams could be achieved faster when shared with others who believed in them too. The school of anchovies carried Finn farther into the open ocean, their synchronized swimming allowing them to glide effortlessly through the water. As they swam together, Finn felt an overwhelming sense of camaraderie and unity that made his heart swell. His dream of the moon seemed more achievable now, not because the distance had changed, but because he felt less alone in his pursuit. After a while, the anchovies began to drift apart, scattering in all directions, each of them returning to their own paths. Finn, though, kept swimming forward, the shimmering moon guiding him through the water's surface. He was beginning to notice the way the ocean transformed at night, the shadows of underwater cliffs, the whisper of the currents, and the subtle soothing sounds that filled the water. Suddenly, a strange, quiet voice interrupted his thoughts. "What brings you to these waters, little fish?" Finn spun around, startled by the soft voice. There, emerging from the shadows, was an octopus, its many arms gracefully flowing through the water. The octopus's eyes gleamed with intelligence, and its skin shimmered with a gentle iridescence that seemed to reflect the very moonlight Finn was chasing. "I'm on a journey," Finn replied, his voice filled with determination. "I'm chasing the moon, and I'm trying to find a way to touch it." The octopus tilted its head in curiosity. "A noble quest indeed," it mused. "But why do you seek the moon?" Finn paused. He had never really stopped to think about why he wanted to touch the moon. It wasn't just about the feeling of the cool surface, or the glory of reaching it. It was about achieving something that seemed impossible, something that proved dreams were worth pursuing no matter how far out of reach. "I don't know exactly," Finn admitted, "but I feel like I have to try." The octopus smiled knowingly. "Sometimes the journey to find the answer is the real reward. Come, little fish. I have something that might help." The octopus extended one of its arms, and from the shadows, it pulled out a small, smooth shell. It was reflective, and as Finn looked into it, he saw his own image, but distorted as though seen through the lens of a dream. "This is a mirror of sorts," the octopus explained. "It shows not just your reflection but your deeper thoughts. Use it when you doubt yourself. It will help you see that your dream is within you, just as much as it is out there." Finn held the shell gently, feeling its smooth surface beneath his fins. He knew that this journey was teaching him more than he had ever expected. The moon might be far, but with the lessons he was learning, he was starting to understand that the pursuit was as important as the destination. Finn thanked the octopus for the reflective shell, carefully tucking it into a small crevice between the coral. It felt reassuring, as if it were a tangible reminder that his dream was real, and that it was okay to feel uncertain along the way. With the shell safely by his side, he swam toward the surface, where the moonlight now shone brighter than before. As Finn swam closer to the surface, the ocean around him seemed to grow more vast and open. The water, once familiar and close, now felt endless, stretching far and wide. The dark sky above was filled with stars, and the moon was rising higher into the night, its glow casting a silvery path across the ocean's surface. With every stroke, Finn felt as though he was getting closer to the moon, and closer to understanding why he had started this journey in the first place. It wasn't just about touching the moon anymore. It was about finding the magic within himself, about believing that even a small fish could achieve great things. As he reached the kelp forests at the edge of the open water, Finn looked up once more. There, through the dark silhouette of the trees, he could see the full moon, casting its glowing light across the sea. The beauty of it took his breath away. He had never seen the moon so clearly before, its round, luminous face gazing down at him as if to acknowledge his pursuit. The peaceful quiet of the surface was interrupted by the splash of a fin cutting through the water. Finn looked up to see a pod of dolphins, their bodies gliding through the water with ease. They appeared to be playing, leaping and twisting in the air before diving back into the depths, their laughter echoing like music in the air. Finn couldn't help but smile. The dolphins seemed to embody the joy of movement, of freedom, and of chasing something that seemed unreachable. As he swam closer, one of the dolphins noticed him and flipped in the water, greeting Finn with a playful smile. "What are you doing out here, little one?" the dolphin asked, its voice light and playful. "I'm chasing the moon," Finn replied, his voice filled with determination. The dolphin's eyes twinkled with amusement. "Well, you've come to the right place. The moon loves company. Why don't you race with us to the surface? Maybe you'll get a bit closer to your dream." Finn's heart skipped a beat. Racing with the dolphins would be an exhilarating challenge, but it felt right. They were showing him that chasing the moon didn't have to be a solitary journey. It could be shared with those who believed in the dream as much as he did. Finn swam beside the dolphins, their graceful movements propelling them through the water. With each leap and splash, he felt the moon get just a little bit closer. The dolphins led Finn on a fast-paced chase across the water, their sleek bodies cutting through the waves with effortless grace. Finn, though smaller and less swift, pushed himself to keep up. Every powerful leap of the dolphins sent ripples across the surface of the water, and Finn swam with all his might, feeling the rush of the ocean around him. As they neared the surface, the moon hung higher in the sky, now casting a shimmering path of silver across the water. Finn could feel the excitement building inside him. The dolphins were faster, but Finn was determined to keep up, feeling the pull of the moon growing stronger with every stroke. But suddenly, the water began to change. The calm waves that had carried them so smoothly turned into choppy swells, and a gust of wind swept across the surface, bringing with it dark clouds that quickly obscured the moon. The beautiful light that had guided Finn's path vanished in an instant, replaced by a thick, foreboding darkness. The ocean, once peaceful, now seemed to shift and swirl with uncertainty. Finn's heart raced as he found himself surrounded by the rising storm. The dolphins, too, began to slow down, their movements cautious as the water grew rougher. The once clear path toward the moon was now hidden, and Finn felt a wave of doubt wash over him. "Where did the moon go?" Finn called out, his voice trembling. "How can I reach it now?" The dolphins swam beside him, their playful energy now subdued. "The storm comes and goes, little fish," one of them said gently. "But don't lose heart. The moon will return when the storm passes. You just have to hold on and trust that your dream is still there, waiting for you." Finn clung to the dolphin's words as he fought against the waves. He had come so far, and the storm couldn't take away his dream. He knew that, no matter how dark the waters got, the moon would always be there, waiting for him to find his way back. The clouds rolled over them, but Finn held on, determined to keep swimming toward the moon, even if he couldn't see it for now. The storm raged on for what felt like hours, the waves crashing against Finn and the dolphins as they swam through the murky waters. The once familiar moonlight was now completely swallowed by the dark clouds, and Finn could no longer see the path that had guided him. Fear gripped his heart as he struggled to keep his head above the surging water, but the dolphins remained close, their presence a comforting reminder that he was not alone. The storm was fierce, and Finn's body ached from the constant struggle against the currents. He felt a heavy weight in his chest, and for the first time on his journey, doubt began to creep in. Was it really worth it? Was the moon a dream too far out of reach? Maybe it was better to return to the safety of the reef, where everything was predictable, where he wouldn't have to face these wild, untamable waves. But just as Finn began to consider turning back, he heard a deep voice rumbling through the water, soft but strong. It was the whale, whose voice Finn had heard before, like a warm embrace in the darkness. "Little fish," the whale called, its voice steady amidst the chaos of the storm. "Do you know what happens when a storm ends?" Finn stopped swimming for a moment, his heart still racing. He recognized the voice of the whale, and somehow, hearing it now in the middle of the storm, gave him a sense of calm. "The moon comes back," Finn replied, his voice filled with a quiet sense of hope. The whale's deep laugh rumbled through the water. "Yes, little fish, but not just the moon. After every storm, you see the world differently. You learn, you grow, and you realize that what you were seeking was always with you. The storm may be fierce, but it always passes. And when it does, you'll be stronger for it." Finn held onto the whale's words like a lifeline. He wasn't alone in the storm, and though he couldn't see the moon, he knew it would return when the clouds parted. So, with renewed strength, Finn swam on, trusting that the storm would eventually end and his dream would still be waiting for him. And just as the whale had said, the storm slowly began to lose its force. The water became less turbulent, the waves calming into gentle swells. The dark clouds that had loomed overhead began to break apart, revealing a thin line of starlight creeping through. The moon was returning. As the storm subsided, the ocean's mood shifted. The choppy waves calmed, and the oppressive dark clouds that had once covered the sky began to break apart, revealing the soft glow of the moon once more. Finn, now filled with a sense of hope, swam through the clearing waters, his heart lighter than it had been in hours. The moonlight returned slowly, at first only a faint glimmer, but as the clouds continued to part, it became a brilliant beacon in the sky. The silvery light illuminated the surface of the ocean, casting ripples of light through the water, and Finn felt a sense of awe fill him. The moon was back, shining brighter than ever. The dolphins, who had been swimming beside him through the storm, now danced in the gentle waves, their bodies leaping and spinning with joy. They seemed to be celebrating, as if the storm had been just another part of their game, a challenge they had conquered together. One of the dolphins turned to Finn, its playful eyes sparkling in the moonlight. "See," the dolphin said, "I told you the moon would return. Sometimes you have to go through the storm to appreciate the beauty on the other side." Finn nodded, a smile spreading across his face. The storm had tested him, but it had also taught him something important, that no matter how dark the waters seemed, the moon would always return. His dream was still out there, waiting for him. He swam toward the surface, feeling the moon's warmth as its reflection danced across the water. This time the journey felt different. He wasn't just chasing the moon anymore. He was embracing everything the ocean had taught him along the way, the challenges, the lessons, and the joy of sharing the journey with others. As Finn swam closer to the surface, he felt a burst of energy. The moonlight was almost within reach, its silvery surface glowing just above the water's edge. With each stroke, Finn's heart raced, and his fins moved faster than ever before. He was getting closer, so close that he could almost feel the coolness of the moon's light. This was it, the moment Finn had been dreaming of. The moon was just above him, its beauty more wondrous than he had ever imagined. With a final surge of energy, Finn leapt through the water, his body cutting through the waves with all his might. His heart pounded in his chest, and for the briefest moment, he felt as if he could actually touch the moon. The cool, silvery glow seemed to reach down to him, as though the universe itself was pulling him toward the sky. Finn's body stretched higher and higher, propelled by the power of his determination. The moment felt suspended in time, as though he and the moon were locked in a magical embrace. He could almost feel the soft touch of the moon's reflection on his scales, a sensation of coolness that filled him with wonder. His dream was no longer impossible. It was here, right in front of him, just a heartbeat away. And then, in that fleeting moment, Finn felt a soft ripple of water beneath him, and the reality of the ocean gently pulled him back down. He didn't reach the moon itself, but he did reach something just as important, the understanding that the journey, the pursuit, was just as powerful as the destination. As Finn descended back into the ocean's embrace, the moonlight seemed to shimmer more brightly than ever before. He had touched the reflection of the moon, and in doing so, he had touched the essence of his own dream. The magic wasn't just in the moon, it was in the effort, the heart, and the courage it took to chase something so far out of reach. The dolphins, who had been watching from below, swam up to join him. They circled around him, their playful energy filling the water with light and joy. "You did it!" one of the dolphins cheered, spinning in the water. "You touched the moon!" Finn's heart swelled with pride. He hadn't touched the moon in the way he had imagined, but in a way that was even more meaningful. He had reached beyond himself, had dared to dream, and in doing so, he had found something far more valuable, an understanding that sometimes the greatest reward is simply the act of trying. The moon above him shone brighter now, its silver light lighting up the ocean and the creatures below, casting a peaceful glow across the entire sea. Finn swam back toward the reef, the dream that had once seemed so distant now alive in his heart. As Finn swam back toward the familiar reef, the weight of his journey began to sink in. The water felt warmer, the currents gentler, and the once intimidating ocean now felt like a place of comfort and possibility. He had set out to touch the moon, but he had found something far more valuable along the way. He had discovered a new sense of self, a deeper understanding of what dreams really meant. When Finn reached the coral reef, he found a group of fish gathered near the edge, watching the moon's reflection on the water's surface. They had been waiting for him, curious about the little fish who had set out on such an impossible quest. They saw the moon's light shining on Finn, a soft glow that made him look almost magical. "So, little fish," one of the older fish asked, "did you reach the moon?" Finn smiled, the light of the moon still reflecting in his eyes. "Not in the way I thought I would," he said, "but I did touch it in my own way. I learned that dreams are about the journey, the learning, and the courage to keep going, even when things seem impossible." The other fish looked at each other, intrigued by Finn's newfound wisdom. They had watched him struggle, heard about his determination, and now they saw something different in him. He wasn't just a small fish with a big dream. He was a fish who had found the magic within himself, and in doing so, had shared that magic with the ocean around him. "Maybe dreams aren't just about reaching something," Finn continued, "but about discovering the strength you have inside you, the friends you meet along the way, and the beauty of the ocean around you." The fish nodded thoughtfully, understanding the truth in Finn's words. They had seen him chase the moon, and now they understood that the journey itself had been the most important part of his dream. Finn floated there for a moment, watching the moon's reflection dance on the water. He realized that the moon was always going to be out of reach, and that was okay. The true magic was in the chase, the willingness to dream, to try, and to share those dreams with others. As the night wore on, Finn rested on a soft bed of seaweed, the calm ocean surrounding him like a gentle embrace. The moon hung high above, its silver light still reflecting off the water's surface. Finn looked up at it once more, and this time, there was no feeling of longing or unreachable desire. Instead, he felt a sense of peace. The moon had always been a symbol of something distant, but now it felt like an old friend, something that was always there, just beyond the horizon, waiting for him. He closed his eyes and remembered the creatures he had met along the way. The jellyfish with their soft glow, the wise whale who had shared his knowledge, the dolphins who had raced with him, and the octopus who had taught him to look within. Each of them had helped him realize something important. Dreams aren't just about achieving a goal, but about finding magic in the moments along the way. Finn drifted into a peaceful sleep, his dreams filled with the soft glow of the moon and the lessons of his journey. The ocean seemed to whisper around him, a lullaby of currents and waves, calming his mind. He had learned so much, not just about the moon but about himself. His dream was no longer about reaching something far away. It was about appreciating the beauty of the journey and the strength that comes from pursuing what feels impossible. The next morning, when Finn awoke, the ocean was still. The sun was rising, casting a warm glow over the water, and the moon had faded into the early morning sky. Finn felt a renewed sense of purpose. He didn't need to reach the moon to feel complete. The journey had given him everything he needed: a deeper understanding of himself, new friendships, and a sense of peace that he had never known before. With a joyful heart, Finn swam through the reef, greeting his friends and sharing the story of his adventure. They listened intently, their eyes wide with wonder as he spoke of the moon and the lessons he had learned. And as Finn swam through the familiar waters, he realized that the magic of the moon was not just in the reaching. It was in the belief, the pursuit, and the shared dream. As Finn swam through the reef, the day began to unfold around him. The sun's rays pierced through the water, casting playful patterns of light across the coral. The ocean was alive with color, and Finn felt as though he had discovered an entirely new world. The creatures of the reef moved with a sense of purpose, just as he had, each on their own journey, each with their own dreams. He passed by the jellyfish, who now glowed softly in the early morning light, and the anchovies, who were busy swimming in their synchronized dance. Every creature seemed to be in perfect harmony, working together to create a world that was both beautiful and purposeful. Finn, once just a small fish with an impossible dream, now felt like part of this larger tapestry. He had found his place in the ocean, not by touching the moon, but by embracing the journey that had brought him here. Finn noticed a group of young fish swimming near the coral. They looked up at him with wide eyes, curious about his adventures. The leader of the group, a bright orange fish with a tail that swished excitedly, swam up to him. "Finn," the young fish said, her voice full of wonder. "We heard your story. You chased the moon. Tell us, did you really touch it?" Finn chuckled softly, his heart warm with the memories of his journey. "Not exactly," he said, "but I learned something even more important along the way." The young fish looked confused, so Finn continued. "I learned that dreams aren't just about reaching something. They're about growing, about learning, and about sharing that dream with others. It's not about touching the moon. It's about believing you can reach for it, no matter how far it seems." The young fish swam in circles around him, their eyes filled with wonder. "Wow," they said in unison. "That's amazing." Finn smiled and nodded. "It's all about the journey," he said. "And the more of us who believe in our dreams, the more we can help each other get closer to them. Together, we can achieve things we never thought possible." With that, Finn swam off, the sound of the young fish's laughter echoing in his ears. As he swam, he realized that the moon was always with him, not just in the sky, but in the hearts of those who dreamed alongside him. And that was all the magic he needed. The days passed, and Finn's story spread throughout the reef. More and more creatures came to him, eager to hear about his adventure. The jellyfish, the dolphins, even the wise old sea bass Otto, all had come to understand that Finn's journey had become something more than a quest to touch the moon. It had become a symbol of hope, of perseverance, and of the magic that happens when you dare to dream. One evening, as the sun began to set and the ocean shimmered in its golden light, Finn found himself once again at the edge of the reef. He gazed up at the sky, now turning to shades of pink and purple, with the moon rising slowly in the distance. It was just as beautiful as ever, its glow casting a soft light on the ocean below. Finn felt a deep sense of peace wash over him as he looked at the moon. He realized that, though he had never physically touched it, he had touched something far more important, the essence of his own dream. The moon, in all its beauty, was a part of him now. It was a reminder that dreams could take many forms, and that reaching for the stars, whether you ever touched them or not, was what truly mattered. As the moon climbed higher, Finn's thoughts turned to the creatures he had met along the way, the ones who had helped him, taught him, and believed in him. He had learned so much from them. They had shown him that dreams weren't just about achieving something. They were about the connections you made, the lessons you learned, and the courage to continue, no matter how distant your goals seemed. Finn was no longer the small fish with an impossible dream. He was a fish who had learned that dreams were not just meant to be touched. They were meant to be lived, shared, and cherished along the way. With a final glance at the moon, Finn swam back into the heart of the reef, his heart light and full. He had found something greater than the moon, a sense of belonging, of purpose, and of joy in the journey. As Finn swam deeper into the reef, the familiar sights and sounds wrapped around him like a comforting embrace. The gentle hum of the ocean, the soft swish of fins and tails, and the occasional burst of laughter from playful fish filled the water. Finn felt like he was part of something bigger than himself, part of a community of dreamers, all chasing their own hopes, and in some way, all connected by the same moon that had inspired him. He passed by Otto, the wise old sea bass, who was basking in the warmth of the late afternoon sun. Otto gave him a nod of acknowledgement, a twinkle in his eye that spoke volumes. Finn swam up to him and paused, resting beside the elder fish. "You've learned something important, haven't you?" Otto asked, his voice deep and knowing. Finn smiled, his eyes glowing with newfound understanding. "Yes, I have. I thought the moon was just a dream, something out of reach. But now I know it's more than that. It's about the journey, the learning, the growing, and the people we meet along the way." Otto chuckled softly, his large eyes twinkling. "You're wise beyond your years, little one. It's true that the moon will always be far away, but the light it gives can lead us to places we never imagined. Sometimes, it's the smallest of us who see the biggest dreams." Finn thought about that for a moment. He had always thought of himself as small, insignificant in the grand scheme of the ocean. But now he realized that it wasn't about how small or big you were. It was about the strength of your dream and the heart you put into chasing it. "Thank you, Otto," Finn said softly. "I used to think I was chasing the moon to prove something. Now I know that it's the journey itself that has changed me." Otto smiled kindly. "And that is the true magic of a dream." Finn swam away, his heart light and full of gratitude. He had learned that the greatest gift of all was not the moon itself, but the courage to dream and the willingness to share that dream with others. As he swam through the reef, Finn felt a new sense of purpose. He wasn't just chasing the moon anymore. He was part of a greater ocean of dreams, each one shining with its own light. As the days turned into weeks, Finn's newfound wisdom rippled through the reef like the moonlight dancing on the water's surface. Every creature, big and small, seemed to share in the understanding that dreams weren't about the destination, but about the journey itself. They began to pursue their own dreams, no longer fearful of failure, knowing that the effort, the pursuit, and the connections they made along the way were just as valuable as the dreams themselves. One evening, Finn found himself once again at the edge of the reef, looking out at the moon. It hung high in the sky, its soft glow illuminating the ocean below. Finn gazed up at it, not with the yearning he had once felt, but with a quiet appreciation. The moon had been his inspiration, his guide through the dark waters, and now he understood that it wasn't something to reach for in a literal sense. It was a symbol of all the dreams that lay beyond the horizon, waiting to be chased. Finn noticed the young fish from earlier, the ones who had been so fascinated by his journey. They swam up to him, their bright eyes eager with excitement. "Finn," the leader of the group said, "we've been dreaming of our own adventures. We want to be like you, chasing our dreams no matter how far they seem." Finn smiled warmly at them, feeling a surge of pride. "You already are," he said softly. "The first step is always believing in your dream. It doesn't matter how big or small it is, or if you ever reach the end of the journey. What matters is that you begin, and that you keep going even when it seems impossible." The young fish swam around him, their excitement growing as they discussed their dreams. Finn listened, his heart full of joy, knowing that his story had sparked something in them. He had started this journey alone, but now he knew that the pursuit of dreams was something meant to be shared. As the night grew darker and the stars twinkled above, Finn felt a deep sense of peace. The moon was still there, shining down on the ocean, but now it wasn't just a far-off goal. It was a reminder that the greatest part of any dream was the courage to pursue it. And that courage, Finn realized, was something that everyone had inside them, waiting to be discovered. The following days were filled with laughter and excitement as Finn watched the young fish begin their own journeys. They swam through the reef, each of them chasing their own dreams. Some dreamed of discovering new parts of the ocean, while others wanted to learn new skills or meet creatures they had never seen before. Finn couldn't help but feel a sense of pride as he saw them set off on their adventures, just as he had once done. The moon, which had been his guiding light, continued to rise and fall, a constant presence in the sky. Each time Finn looked up at it, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He no longer saw the moon as something distant and unreachable. He saw it as a companion, always there to light the way. One evening, as Finn swam near the edge of the reef, he encountered a familiar face. It was the whale, who had given him such wise advice during his journey. The great creature moved slowly through the water, its massive body gliding gracefully. Finn swam up to it, his heart filled with a quiet joy. "Finn," the whale rumbled, "I see that you've learned much on your journey. The dream you sought was always within you, wasn't it?" Finn nodded, his eyes shining. "Yes, it was. I thought the moon was my goal, but I've realized that the real gift was the journey itself. I've learned so much about myself, and I've seen how sharing dreams with others makes them even more special." The whale's deep eyes sparkled with approval. "You've discovered the greatest truth of all, little fish. Dreams are not about reaching the end, but about living fully in the pursuit. You have touched the moon in your own way, not by physically touching it, but by allowing it to lead you to a greater understanding of yourself and the world around you." Finn smiled, his heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you," he said softly, his voice full of warmth. "I feel like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be." The whale nodded, its large body drifting slowly in the current. "And that is the most important thing of all. To be at peace with the journey, and to know that you are exactly where you need to be." As the whale swam away, Finn remained where he was, watching the moon rise higher into the night sky. He knew that his dream was no longer about touching the moon. It was about living in the light it provided, knowing that the journey was the reward, and that the greatest magic of all was in sharing that dream with others. As the days passed, Finn's heart continued to glow with the light of the moon, but now that light came from within him. He had shared his journey with others, and in doing so, had become part of a larger, more beautiful story. One where dreams weren't just solitary pursuits, but shared experiences that brought the ocean's creatures closer together. The reef, once a place of quiet solitude for Finn, had become a vibrant community of dreamers, each living their truth, guided by the light of their own aspirations. One evening, as the sun began to set and the sky turned into hues of orange and pink, Finn swam to the edge of the reef, where he had first gazed at the moon. The ocean around him was calm, and the gentle waves lapped at the coral in soft rhythms. He looked up at the sky, and there it was, the moon rising once more, its light bathing the sea in its peaceful glow. For a moment, Finn felt as if everything had come full circle. He had set out to touch the moon, but in the end, he had discovered something far more valuable. The true magic of dreams was not in achieving them, but in the pursuit itself, the learning, the growth, and the connections made along the way. As he watched the moon rise higher, Finn closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. He felt a sense of peace wash over him, knowing that his journey had led him exactly where he needed to be. He was no longer the little fish who dreamed of the impossible. He was the fish who had learned that even the wildest of dreams were within reach, as long as you had the courage to chase them. The ocean around him seemed to whisper in the quiet of the night, as if in agreement. Finn opened his eyes and smiled, knowing that his dream was never really about the moon at all. It was about the journey, the people he met, and the lessons he learned along the way. With a final glance at the moon, Finn swam off into the water, ready for whatever new adventures awaited him. The moon would always be there, shining bright above him, but now he knew that the greatest light was the one inside his heart. Sweet dreams.